Welcome, welcome. Another Tap It Out Tuesday. So today's session is all about when the focus won't hold. It's for when you sit down to work and your brain goes absolutely everywhere except the place that it was supposed to go. So I'm going to do a little bit of a quick intro about what EFT is, how it helps with ADHD brains, and then we'll kind of get into it. So EFT is emotional freedom technique. We tap with our fingers on specific acupressure points on our face and on our body. The same meridian system as acupuncture, it just no needles. So that's my favorite part. You don't need any special setup, and you can do it right now at your desk. You can do it in your car while you're waiting to pick up the kids. You can do it with 1,000 tabs open, and your brain is already halfway out the window. So that's the point. It works anytime. So why it works? The focus problem isn't an attention problem, or yeah. So when your brain won't land on the thing that you want it to be landing on, when it keeps skipping, scanning, finally, finding literally anything else to look at, it's because your nervous system is still kind of in that scanning mode. It's still monitoring, still checking for threats. Um, and a nervous system that's in scanning mode, it just can't settle into sustained attention. Ugh, can't speak this morning. So no matter how much you want it to. And focus isn't a discipline skill. It's a nervous system state. Your brain can only settle on one thing when it feels safe enough to actually stop checking everything else. So tapping gives your nervous system the signal it needs to kind of like stand down. And not by telling it to, like not by telling yourself to calm down, but by sending a direct calming message through the body to the part of the brain that's been running that scan. So when the scan stops, the focus has somewhere to actually land. And it specifically works for ADHD and autistic brains because our brains have a nervous system that is wired to seek novelty and flag everything as potentially relevant or important. And it doesn't mean we're broken or anything like that. It's hypervigilant, which means the bar for safe enough to settle is actually higher than it is for a neurotypical brain. So that's like when there's any extra background stress or any unfinished emotional business, any low level anxiety kind of running underneath all that, the bar goes even higher still. So this is why you can focus for hours on something that fascinates you and something that, you know, doesn't fascinate you that much. You're going to get lost in a rabbit hole within 2 seconds. So it's not inconsistency. It's that your nervous system is telling you exactly where it feels safe and where it doesn't. So tapping helps to lower the activation level so that the important thing can actually compete. So how our sessions run. First of all, we start with the karate chop point. So we start tapping on the side of our hand here. And then we move through the other points, which is the inside of our eyebrow, the outside of our eye, underneath our eye, on our, under our nose, not on our nose, um, on our chin, on our collarbone, under our arm, the top of our head, and then we go back to the karate chop point. So you don't need to use both hands if you don't want to. You can just use one hand. Like I personally like to use two hands. So yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You don't need to tap super hard, just nice and gently. So round one names the scatter, honestly. So like it feels a bit weird because we kind of bring up a lot of the negative stuff. And then round two separates the scatter and the negative from the story that you've been telling yourself about the thing. And then round three finds what becomes available when all that chaos quietens down a little bit. And then we'll do a check-in at the end. So yeah, this kind of looks a bit silly, but we're tapping on our faces on a Tuesday while our brains are simultaneously thinking about probably 11 other things. And that is fine. The tapping is going to work anyway. So before we officially start, I want you just to check in and notice where your brain is now. Not where you want it to be, but where it actually is right now. So is it like, are you feeling nice and calm? Are you feeling like somewhere in the middle? Or are you feeling like absolutely overloaded? So rate yourself from 1 to 10. So 1 is calm, 10 is chaos. So you can share it in the chat or comments if you want to, but You don't have to share it, just keep that number top of mind. So I want to ask you, is it on the screen? The one thing that you were supposed to do before you came on here? Or was it the load washing, the email that you haven't replied to, the conversation that you need to have, or the task that's been sitting there for 3 days? How many things is your brain trying to hold right now? And when you think about sitting down to do one specific piece of work, the thing that actually needs doing, what happens in your brain and your body? Does your brain immediately try and find something else to do? Does it feel kind of slippery, like you keep losing momentum every time you try, you kind of get started? So that scatter or inability to land, how strong is it feeling now? Just keep that number top of mind. And we'll take a nice deep breath in and out. And then we'll get started with the tapping sequence. So just repeat after me. You don't need to repeat it out loud if you don't want to. You can just repeat it in your mind. But we'll start with the karate chop point. Just tapping gently and repeat after me. Even though my brain won't stay on one thing, even though I sit down to work and it goes everywhere except where I need it, I deeply and completely accept myself. 2 more times. Even though my brain won't stay on one thing, even though I sit down to work and it goes everywhere except where I need it to be, I deeply and completely accept myself. Last time. Even though my brain won't stay on one thing, even though I sit down to work and it goes everywhere except where I need it, I deeply and completely accept myself. So now we move on to the eyebrow point. My brain will just not stay on one thing. Side of the eye. I sit down to work and within 30 seconds, I'm thinking about something completely different. Under the eye. I pick up the task and then I lose it. Pick it up and lose it over and over. Under the nose. All the tabs, my phone, the random thought that sends me somewhere else entirely. It's all equally as loud. On her chin. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I just cannot make my brain stay there long enough to actually do it. Words don't want to work today. No collarbone. And the more I try to force it, the worse it gets. The trying is almost making it harder. under the arm. I've been calling this a productivity problem. Been calling it a discipline problem. Evidence that I can't be trusted to just sit down and work like a normal person. Top of my head. All of this scatter, all of this noise. My brain running in 12 directions at once, and none of them are the right one. Back to our karate chop point. Even though my brain is everywhere right now, I showed up, I'm here, and I deeply and completely accept myself. Right, back to our eyebrows. My brain isn't scattered because I'm lazy or undisciplined. It's scattered because it's still scanning. The side of the eye. My nervous system hasn't had the signal that it's safe to settle yet. So it keeps checking, keeps monitoring, keeps moving. Under the eye. A brain in scanning mode cannot sustain focus. That's not me failing, it's just science. Under the nose. Everything feels equally important. It feels equally urgent because my nervous system is treating it all as potentially relevant. It's trying to protect me. I know chin. The harder I try to force focus from inside this state, the more effort I'm burning, and I'm still not getting anywhere. Because effort isn't the problem. The nervous system state is the problem. Onto a collarbone. My brain knows how to focus. I've done it plenty times before. I've gone so deep into something that I looked up and 4 hours had passed. So the capacity is there. Under our arm. The question isn't whether I can focus. It's whether my nervous system feels safe enough to let me right now. And right now, it's not quite there yet. Top of our head. What if the scatter isn't a broken brain? What if it's just a nervous system that needs a different signal? Back to a karate chop. My nervous system isn't, sorry, my nervous system is getting that signal right now. Something is starting to settle. Just a little, and that's enough. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Right, last round on our eyebrows. What if I don't need perfect focus? What if I just need enough to settle to start? So the eye. My nervous system is starting to get the message. It doesn't need to monitor everything right now. It's allowed to calm down. Under the eye. The tabs can wait. The washing can wait. The unanswered emails or DMs can wait. Under the nose. I don't need my brain to stay on it for hours. I just need it to land on it once, just enough to begin. On our chin. The scanning is getting quieter. Not gone, but quieter, and there's more space than there was a minute ago. On our collarbone. I know which thing needs my attention. My brain knows it too, and we're starting to point in the same direction. Under the arm. Focus doesn't require force. It requires a nervous system that feels safe enough to settle. And right now, mine is getting there. Move to the top of our head. I'm allowed to do one thing. Just one, not all of them. And not perfectly. Just one thing to get started right now. My brain finally has somewhere to land. I know what it is, and I think I can stay there long enough to just make a start. Stop tapping when you're ready. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Feel your feet on the floor, for your body in your seat. Just come back slowly. And now think about where that number is again. Has it lowered? Whereabouts do you feel it? Or maybe you don't feel it at all anymore. If you want to share, you can drop it in the comments. If not, that's fine too. The scattering feeling might still be there a little bit, and that's all right. What you have now that you didn't have about 3 minutes ago is a nervous system that's a little more settled and maybe a little bit more ready to do that thing. Before you do anything else, make sure to go back and open up that task that you were trying to do. Don't worry about trying to write it or finish it or anything else. Just open it and get it in front of you. So the window right after the tapping session is the best place to get started again. Right, I did have some notes for the end of the session today. Where are we? Um, I am thinking about opening up something super special for our school group, so I will post about that later on. I want to trial something. So it's a free thing. I'm only going to let 5 people test it out with me, and then yeah, see if my idea is any good. And one of the questions that came up this week is about discrete tapping. So one of the things that I did, when was it? We had a networking group. So I got a networking group every fortnight, and we all talk about our businesses and what we're up to and things like that. And I know all these people. We live in a small town. So you'd think that it would be easy to just, chat. But sitting around a group of even just 10 people, I was terrified. So I hate being center of attention, which is quite funny that I'm doing these Zoom calls and all this stuff on social media. But um, this is like my comfort zone, I guess now. I'm used to it. Just talking in front of like actual physical people is a completely different feeling. So I would always get super nervous and anxious when it was coming up to my turn. So I started like I always wear hoodies. So in my hoodie pocket, I would make kind of like a tent. And I would just use one hand to kind of tap on my belly because I didn't want my pocket to be bouncing around and people think I was doing something weird in my jersey. So, um, I would just tap on my belly and, quietly do some like breathing and just be a bit focused um, on what was happening, the feelings that I was having. So I would just kind of think of positive affirmations. So like I am safe, I'm okay, like I can't think of what else I would say, but just think about all these things that, you know, are going to calm me down. So instead of trying to focus on oh my God, I'm so nervous, like I can't wait for this to be over with. And the other thing, I would always speak so fast when it was my turn and I was anxious. So I get told I speak fast anyway, but imagine like a caffeinated chipmunk is what I feel like I sounded like. So doing the tapping beforehand, just on my belly or even I'd fold my arms and just kind of tap, or you can just tap and people won't really think much of it because a lot of us are fidgety nowadays anyway. So um, whichever way is going to feel easiest for you, like you could have your hands on your lap and just, tap gently. Like if there's music playing, people will think you're tapping to the music. So it's a benefit too. Um, And yeah, it works because it's kind of like the same principle is that we're tapping on those different points and it's bringing that awareness to your mind and the breathing and all that type of stuff. So I was doing some Googling beforehand about what the belly actually symbolizes. And because it's not actually one of the tapping sequence, so I was like, oh, I wonder what this actually means. And the belly is like, it's the center of your body, so it's like the central spot. So it helps to bring all of those thoughts that are floating around, driving you crazy in your head, and it helps to like kind of ground you and bring it all back into the center and just pretty much gets it out of your head as well. So double bonus. Um, so yeah, that's one of the things that I did. And I do it quite often now. Whenever I'm in a situation where I'm feeling a bit anxious or something's not quite comfortable, then yeah, just find some sort of little discreet way to tap and just remind myself that I'm safe. There's no bear chasing after me, so I'm not going to die. And most of the time it works. So um, yeah, anyone having any trouble with that, I hope that little tip helps. Um, what else is coming up? Oh, you're very welcome. Um, I have another workshop coming up. I will post about that in the school group as well. But yeah, other than that, I got a lot of things on the cards coming up, so keep an eye out. All right. Or if you're still going on your big long trip, I hope you have a safe trip and everything goes well. Otherwise, I shall see you in the school group. The replay will be up as soon as Zoom gives me the recording. So yeah, have a good day, and I shall see you next week.